Hey, what is up here, guys? Streamster Cool here, and I wanted to go ahead and give some thought process to the upcoming changes coming to Dead by Daylight. Now, I'll be completely honest, I just haven't been playing the game lately. The game to me has become the most stale, repetitive thing ever, and I want to give more insight to that. I keep good changes on it, and as someone who has played both sides, I think the palette update should definitely not be as many, but was still needed a little bit due to just certain maps being complete dead zones and you having 10 pallets to work with. I'm not kidding, I genuinely did have that issue. I would go around and count the pallets sometimes when they were that bad, and I would get 10 pallets on a map. It was insanity. So yeah, some maps needed some didn't, but let's talk about this. So the reason I'm making this video is because I have seen so many people acting like this upcoming update is killing the game. Killers will no longer be allowed to play. The game's dead. The killer role is dead. I'm just gonna say it first and foremost, if that is your thought process, you just need to play a different game for a little bit. I'm gonna say the exact same thing people have been saying to anyone who wants to try and just enjoy the survivor role, is that obviously you just need to take a break. Do you see how stupid that is and how that doesn't solve anything? Cool. No, let's actually talk about it. Behavior isn't that stupid. I highly doubt they're going to release these changes as they are, as we've already seen some issues with them. So the changes definitely are a bit too much. They went from not giving enough to Survivor while giving a lot more like base kit, pop, and stuff to Killer, which actually made certain killers too strong. So now they went the opposite direction. This is classic behavior. We've seen this for fucking the entirety that they've owned the game. I am so surprised that we are still acting like this isn't the normal reaction from Behavior Interactive Studios. Smile. No, that's not going to kill the game. However, Behavior also isn't turbo stupid. They're pretty dumb, but they're not that dumb. If they did release the update, then oh, please, by all means, shit on them until they do something. But I'm just going to say it as is. The killer role is not dead. Okay? And I read this comment the other day, and it was something along the lines of, "This is exactly why VHS died. It's because they listened to the Survivor players and not us killer players." Into which, motherfucker, VHS was a completely competitive focused game, you dumb motherfucker. That game, the only people who played that game were the competitive bitches who sit here and do the 1,000 win streaks in Dead by Daylight. It is no different. So shut up. No, that is just not true. What really hurts Dead by Daylight is that it went from, at its first peak, it was a horror game. You would play it, you get scared, go on from there. You know what would happen next? People got better at it. It stopped being a fucking horror game. Okay, people wanted to keep getting better at it. So get this, they did get better at it. We didn't have that many perks or that many killers, so people basically what they would do is they would always run the strongest shit on both sides. After playing that for so long, though, you kind of realize, man, if I play a fucking nurse with Omega Bleak, I'm going to win every game. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to run a Big Chungus Trapper with no perks for funny. You know, I would get shit on, but you know what? I would have cool, funny interactions with the survivors, and it would just be funny. I could still get a kill here and there. I would just slow pan to a locker. That's what it was like in early-ish DBD to right around the middle area. Now, at that time, we had people like Monto making videos. Like, here's a complete in-game focused video. It's not me trying to be competitive or sweaty. I just want to I hope they make it the in-game. I've had so many games where I'm just playing Trapper and they don't, because I feel bad and I just let people out because I don't care about fucking winning. I just want to play a video game and have fun. That's my personal opinion, and I'm going to tell you something to the people who are probably already have written a bitchy comment. That's most of what everyone else wants to do too. People need to understand that people like me who have played the game since beginning all the way up to 2025, I am the fucking minority of the people who play this game. I am not the people Behavior is going to fucking try and cater to unless they do want to kill the game. Because I could load into a get match and probably get a team that is either going to kick my ass or I am going to kick their ass depending on how it goes. right? The only difference is, if it's a 4-man, yeah, I'm probably getting my ass kicked. That's how the game's been forever, and it's been up to Behavior to make a bridge for that, but they still just choose not to. They don't even have to do anything like punishing friends. They could add new systems, you know, something before even touching Jin, so we can finally nerf the same fucking perks that have been in the game for 5 years that we still will not fucking touch. Looking at you, Painrez. Excuse me. And I already know, because I've mentioned that and I have an issue with slowdown perks, people genuinely think that that invalidates my entire opinion. My issue isn't the perk itself, it's the fact that it feels so terrible to play against when I'm just playing with a guy with like 400 hours who's still learning the fucking game, so he goes down, my Jin gets pain-rezzed, and then fucking the killer downs another guy because they're playing an S-tier killer, so the Jin again gets pain-rezzed. And that's what people don't understand, is that the meta hurts the game a lot. The mindset of I need to win the game every time hurts a lot. And sorry, I need to collect myself. I got a little passionate there. I will say I am very bad about just going off on tangents, so I do apologize for that up and for utmost. Let me continue with what I was saying. So again, after that area of DVD, we had the moments to where killers, you know, they needed buffs. Killer's Den was generally fucking terrible. You know, like, yeah, I could play funny fucking, fucking perkless trapper, but let's be honest, I did that with the expectation I was going to lose the game, and I just wanted to dick around, right? If you wanted to win back then, you'd probably play fucking Nurse all the time. Billy, but that's like still early DBD. Fucking, I mean, old Legion was a thing back then, so it's really, really a mixed area. Around this area is when I would say the game started going downhill. Because when the Blight came out, Blight was a short little fuck who was very awful, and it was very fucking funny. But he got buffed to be taller. However, around this time they nerfed Old Ruin, which I think Old Ruin was very new player unfriendly. Very anti-new player, because it also was very anti-device. Like, this is around the consoles. Consoles, you already struggled hitting great skill checks on a console at this time. This is when I was a console player. I've since moved back to PC. I started on PC, moved to console, moved back to PC. But that's why they nerfed it then, too. I highly doubt it was just because people were generally struggling. It's just, at the same time, PS4s and even the Switch, like, dog, you already know they run like dog shit. And that was before the game got even worse with how it handles these updates. So imagine still having it hit a great skill check then. It was terrible, dude. Oh my god. Random fucking frame rates and you'll just blow up the gen. It was so shit. But, so what they did is they released Ruin Undying, and that meta was fucking super boring, because it just made every match an RNG fest. Which the killer will equip a perk, and then, sorry, you didn't break the right one. Oh, sorry, buddy, you didn't break the right one again. Whoopsie. So it just really sucked ass. To which it was finally nerfed, thank God. To which, skipping ahead again, we got into the Eruption, Pop, 3-gen, Skull Merchant meta. Which, again, around this era, from Blight to there, is when people really started to be like, man, I gotta get really good. This is when the win streak videos started coming out. This is when people really started trying a lot. Which, I will say this, win streaking, most casual players, myself included, when I hear that you are win streaking in Dead by Daylight, I look at you and I think that you're not the funnest individual, because you can win streak, but let's be honest here, what individual who is... the only person who's going to be win streaking is people who feel like they have something to prove, or they're doing it for content and already play the game too much. And yes, casual players will look at that and be like, whoa, that's so cool, because they don't even know how to fucking play killer, because they, in their own terms, don't have 1,000 hours in the game, so their opinion doesn't fucking matter. Do you see how stupid that shit sounds? It's very dumb when you try and ban certain players from having an opinion on the game, because that's not how a game grows. That's how the game stagnates, and that's how it's been stagnating, is because you have fucking elitists in this game. So, after that fucking gen kick meta, and this is something I want to get on, Behavior has the worst tendencies of over-adjusting shit, which is what they're doing now, to where they nerfed Dead Hard, right? The old Dead Hard, press E for distance. Oh my god, if you play during that time, you're already ripping your fucking hair out. E for distance was such a stupid fucking thing. that was like genuinely until then, I will gladly come to the side. Hey, you know, Survivor was incredibly strong. And at that point, if you're playing Trapper, oh no, the game's completely in the Survivor side. But ever since that fucking patch, if you think the game is still fucking Survivor sided, you're a fucking moron. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, dog. So ever since then, so what happens is after they nerf Dead Hard, the press E for distance, they then turbo nerf Survivor even further. Gens take 10 seconds longer. They don't get a longer sprint burst. Weapon animations increased across the board. Pickup animation, like, dude, the biggest killer buff in history. Like, in the biggest Survivor nerf in history. Because after that patch, non-stop old killer buffs. Every killer getting buffed and buffed and buffed. To which, the only killers that ever got turbo nerf were pretty problematic one, like, you know, except for the underlying weird ones like fucking Porcino coming up. But it's very funny, because first time Skull Merchant, you're a loser, I'm sorry. You cannot defend Skull Merchant when they came out. Even the different Skull Merchant, even though it was changed, it was still really boring to play against. And I shouldn't get punished because my teammate sucked your drone off behind the Wendy's parking lot, you know? like you get a speed boost, and that's like, I just get down because you have Bloodlust now. That's not engaging. It's just very confusing and very annoying. Not to mention, anyone with eyesight issues, and like people who aren't playing on certain graphic settings, those drone lines are sometimes very fucking hard to see, in stealth especially, so it just felt really fucking cheap, if you want my full honesty. But during that time, killers finally felt like, hey, you know, I have a chance to win the game on anyone I play now, me included, like, definitely. And then, you know what started happening? And the reason why I mostly have just kind of not bothered with killer lately? Well, because I did start winning most of my games, and I got fucking really bored really fast. Because before, it at least felt like a challenge to win on killer. Not that it isn't now. There's been changes that I can't comment on. Like, let's be honest, survivors downing themselves, then being able to pick themselves up at full health because of conviction is really fucking stupid. I've went against that a little bit. Certain palette tiles, like how the game has not been changed to this day, is actually fucking mind-boggling. I will never understand. But again, and while I understand people want to play how they want to play, that's fine. But like, dog, I'm just sorry, killer has not been that hard in forever. The palette changes that came out, that's cool, but like, I then just remember having to play in even worse palette setups and still winning back then. Granted, survivors were worse, everyone was worse back then, but I'm just saying, I know if I could win then, I could still win now, and get this, if I lose the game, it's not that big of a deal because it's fucking Dead by Daylight. You know what really sucks as Survivor and really turned me off from this game? At least altogether. So instead of playing Killer, I decided to just start playing Survivor a little bit more. I still played Killer. You know, I got, you know, like, see, look. Got all the way to Vecna, which is just 5, like, that's maybe a year ago. I played some fucking Dracula, some Houndmaster. Every fucking new killer beyond the Lich has been incredibly boring, except for fucking... I do want to get him, it's just I just haven't had a reason to purchase the animatronic, because that's the only killer that looks fun. Zone them until they die. Zone them till they die. Stupid, but I think they nerfed her to make her a little bit more bearable. Again, I kind of like Huntress. I suck at Huntress, so just the idea of being a goofy, yeah, I'm gonna give you funny jump scare, that sounds fun to me. I want to do it. Literally an atrocity until here recently, to which, again, I've not played against him recently. All I know is that there's actual real counterplay to where he can't just kidnap you beyond a pallet anymore. Thank fucking God, because holy shit. Sorry, gold defenders. I don't know what to tell you. But, I go to play Survivor. And what really sucked is this is when the time Skull Merchant came out. Singularity had too much counterplay, so what is, again, back to the same thing, what does Survivor, what does Behavior do? They overcompensate and give him a huge buff. And it's just so terrible. I can't wait for they retouch the fucking Xenomorph, because they over-nerfed them and haven't touched them since, you know? It's just little things like that. It's just very common, but going against Skull Merchant players whose only objective was to make the game as fucking miserable as humanly possible really just, like, ruined most of my sympathy for people who want to play the game in a serious manner, because while they weren't playing it in a serious manner, some of the people who I saw playing Skull Merchant like this are the same people who people genuinely, like, oh my god, they're the best player ever, yada yada yada. And it's like, dude, they're just upset because someone gave them a chase and then beamed them on the ground. It's so lame. Like, I hate it. I hate it so much. And it's not like any big person. It's just like the same people who will do that are the same miserable fucks who are bitching about players not wanting to play against them because they have some weird fetish for having power in a video game. Like, dude, no shit, I don't want to play against the nurse running fucking Pain Res Deadman Switch when all she has to do is hold M2 and click on me. It's fucking stupid. And how it's not been changed to this day, I will never understand. I'm sorry, I don't want to do it. Oh, you're playing, The Artist, and this is a clip that I saw going around. Some guy was crashing out because they're playing Artist. To which, I'll say this. Artist is not a killer you should just DC against. That's lame, right? And the person definitely misplayed. However, I can still see why they don't want to play that. To a degree. Not them, but their teammates. Like, if them DCing, they're a bitch. But if anyone else DCs, I could even be upset at that person because they just, in the same minute that they're whining after downing a guy in like 20 seconds, they down another guy in 20 seconds, and that's Pain Res going off twice. The game's over because behavior hasn't fucking done anything to make the game more bearable for situations like that. Like, holy shit, if they had some system to where maybe, to try and even out the game to where, like, you know, hey, you have 3 hooks and there's 5 gens left, the survivors get like a certain percentile speed bonus on gens, maybe you can make the argument that the game is actually doable to a degree, like you could actually win. But as it currently stands, depending on what loadout and what killer you're running, you will win most of your games, depending on what you're playing, how well you know it, and what you're doing. That person that I just mentioned, they have played the game for fucking years. They are not going to kill, they are going to kill little Timmy off of work one day, I promise you. The only thing that is going to stop most of those players who have played the game for years is other players who have played for years. That's why the comp scene exists, because people go to comp. But then they bitch whenever they don't get those same matches in a pub game, and it's just like, dude, public matches are not the same thing as a competitive game of Dead by Daylight. Competitive Dead by Daylight is so shit that the developers themselves don't fucking do it because it was so fucking terrible. And they finally just acknowledged, hey, when people take the game too seriously, it kind of drives people off from the game. So what do we want to do? Okay, well, we want to make the game more enjoyable. Oh, you're killing our role! Oh my god! Ignoring the fact that Survivor got hard nerfed like not even 2 years ago. Not unplayable, mind you, but same people bitched about that. Survivor's now unplayable. Oh no! And it's always, this game has always had a constant tug of war. So please, I beg you, if you're one of the guys who genuinely says every other chapter that this game is fucking dead because the side that you like is getting touched, just go play a different game. Genuinely, from someone who has been told to go play a different game for just trying to open a little bit of, you know, I'm not even trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to give you a consensus of why I think people are debating about this, why I think people are so up in a tight bunch. Like, yeah, going against those 4 fucking survivors all running the strongest shit is so fucking boring. It is boring to go against. It is simply just as boring to go against someone playing Kaneki for the 5,000th time with 3 slowdowns and some other general perk. I'm sorry, you're no better. Please simply go touch grass. I don't know what to tell you. That's been my opinions. No, the game's not gonna fucking die. If anything, I think it will actually revitalize the game because it'll get casuals to actually want to give the game a better try. Instead of just throwing up their hands in the air and saying, well, I mean, what's the point? I fucking try Survivor, I die instantly. There's way too many fucking killers for me to want to really focus on, and I do well on fucking Nurse, but any other killer I touch, I get my ass kicked because I can't simply learn how to play a killer who isn't going to win every fucking game. neither side will win every fucking game. Killers should generally win at least 50% of their matches. I think going above that's a bit silly, and that's what they tried. They kind of understood that, because keep in mind, along with that Survivor nerf, they nerfed pallet loops. And who would have guessed, if one side can't actually even bother to, like, if they think they're not even able to play the game, they're just not going to play the game. To which, again, that's like the code red definition of you can still play the game. It's just, because I played it for a good long time after that too, but like my thought process eventually played, why do I even bother playing Survivor? There's not a fucking point half the time. I don't want to play Survivor because Survivor is incredibly frustrating when I'm dying due to a random who is a fresh install, or the fact that there's genuinely nothing I can fucking do because it's an S tier killer who only has played this killer for 500 hours and they expect the game to be catered to them. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't think, I've never thought the game's been a good place balance-wise on either side. While it has gotten better, I think that after that middle ground, like, of them finally nerfing Dead Hard for Distance, and them giving killers more things to work with, I think if they would have just kind of nerfed Slowdown a little bit, properly nerfed them, it would have been fine. Because genuinely, I feel like the game was in a lot better state then than moving on to, let's just keep, because again, power creep. I mean, God forbid, this abomination fucking sends dog every 2 seconds. Like, that's just fucking obnoxious. I'm sorry. Fucking Skull Merchant. This killer, I know, is considered very weak right now, which is very interesting, because, again, you could win with this killer. It's, like, not every killer needs to be fucking nerfs. I mean, God forbid. I mean, Jesus Christ, I would argue Pig is weaker. And that's, like, it's always been a joke, because Pig is just Dash. But, like, I'd even argue the Hag is weaker. But no one plays Hag because she's boring to play and boring to go against. Because all she does is draw pretty pictures. Fuck you. Fuck your pretty pictures. No! And then I can't even teleport to my traps after that. It's fucking lame. It's dumb. But you know what the people who do play her do? They fucking run one singular add-on every fucking game. I wonder what add-on it is. Calling you out, fucking 1 or 2 Hag players who watch this, maybe. And then they wonder why people just don't go against them half the time. Because no one wants to go against Rusty Shackle Hags. Because it's dumb. It's so obnoxious, especially whenever I have to have my game on the lowest settings to be able to see further. You know, again, that's another visual issue. But, you know, giving Behavior some credit, at least they still listen to the community's feedback. If they do release the upcoming changes as is, oh, please go off on them, I beg you. If they do tone it to a certain degree, I'll actually play the game some more. That'll actually sound fun. I feel like I won't have my handheld when I play Killer, because that's the reason I don't play Killer. I do genuinely find it a bit too easy in just cookie cutter formula. Am I playing X-Killer with Slowdown? Okay, well, I'm probably going to tie or win the game, unless it's a Swift. And that's, like, literally just the roadmap every fucking time. No matter what map it is, except for, like, some really bad Survivor-sided maps, like the game. Behavior changed the game already. How the fuck have you not done that? But other than that, I mean... With that being said, I want to stop yapping. Please, for the love of God, just be civil. You don't have to call me an idiot. You don't have to sit here and say I don't play both sides when I can clearly, easily prove that I play fucking both sides and have ever since the games came out. Like, God forbid. Oh, hey, look, guys, there's a Survivor bonus because no one wants to play Survivor in the normal mode. That's crazy! Really? Oh, whoa! That's nutty. Like, holy shit. That's super duper. Like, I like the roleplay of Medic, but, you know, fuck me. I like that. It's fun. I like doing funny memes, but you know what? I'll have people generally say that, like, why should you win the game when you're not trying? And that's fine. That's fine. I shouldn't win the game when I'm not trying every fucking game. You're right. I shouldn't also lose the game every other fucking game. Because it's not like the perks I'm running aren't me actually trying. I'm still trying to do gens, play the game normally. But it's just, I'm not running strong enough perks. I'm not running the cookie cutter survivor perks that wins more games than not. So, just issue with meta, and meta needs to be changed. All right, bye bye.